Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Chris here. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about recovery. A 12-step program for there's actually a 12-step program for everybody and anybody who's looking for one or like one. So here today, actually I'm coming to you from my natural habitat. This is where I like to hang out. This is where I get my experience, strength, and hope from other people who share with me their experience with the 12 steps, their experience with recovery, their experience with this book too. So this is where I learned a lot of what I share with you on a daily basis. So I'm really grateful to be here in what used to be my home group. This is the English group that I used to belong to, and across the hall is the Spanish speaking group that we're all here doing a unity event. They're going to celebrate their anniversary. The group across the room here, they're going to be celebrating the anniversary tomorrow. So today they invited a whole bunch of us to just come and have fun and eat and share. And they're actually having marathon sharing right now, marathon meetings they call it, right? En español, solo que están bien chingones ahorita. O sea, la terapia, como se dice, está bien buena, está bien loca ahorita. So what happens over there is there's a lot of crosstalk. So they relate, people can relate, and it's pretty neat. It's a whole different experience than going to a Spanish group. But what I learned here and what I learned there is what I get to share with you on the daily. So I'm very grateful for how far I've come, right? So let's get started. We're going to read our daily reflections as we always do. And today is still June 11th, right? Not for much longer, probably about another hour to be June 12th. But I'd love to share with y'all. So I wanted to just step aside from that for a minute and come over to this room where it's a little more quiet and read with y'all and share with y'all, right? So today is June 11th, and the title of today's entry is called Family Obligations. A spiritual life which does not include family obligations may not be so perfect after all. And that's out of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 129. I can be doing great in the program, applying it at meetings, at work, and in service activities, and find that things have gone to pieces at home. I expect my loved ones to understand, but they cannot. I expect them to see and value my progress, but they don't unless I show them. Do I neglect their needs and desires for my attention and concern? When I'm around them, am I irritable or boring? Are my amends a mumbled sorry, or do they take the form of patience and tolerance? Do I preach to them, trying to reform or fix them? Have I ever really cleaned house with them? The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. And that's out of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 83. So, I'm guilty of what this reading is talking about. I'm guilty to have been in a season before where I just got sober, and man, I wanted everybody to get sober. I wanted my sister to get sober. I wanted my mom to get sober. I wanted everybody around us to get sober, everybody I knew to get sober, because it was like, wow, I didn't know I could live like this, and such clarity and such hope and such wonderful experiences that I was already having even early in sobriety. So I just wanted everybody to have it, right? So I got a little preachy, and I'm grateful for those people who were in my life, and they didn't let me get away with anything. They just pretty much would tell me to go F myself, right? Because the truth is, you can't give this program to nobody who don't want it. You just can't give it to them, right? Plus, my words didn't mean anything to them, because how many times had I already said, I'm sorry, I'm never going to do it again, and I still did. Or if I say like, oh, I'll never drink again, and I still did. I'll never drink again, and I'll never cheat on you again, and I still did. I was telling them I was not going to lie to them, and I was lying to them with that sentence itself, because lying, stealing, and cheating is how I got what I wanted before recovery, right? So for the family, even though, well, I really didn't ever have friends before recovery. I just had drinking buddies and coworkers, and that's it. But not very many were left, because some of y'all may know, they didn't really want to have anything to do with me because I was trouble. So, my family was patient with me while I recovered. And while they still wanted me to drink with them, and they didn't know how to handle me, right? I get it. I didn't know how to handle them. I'm in recovery and they're not. And I want them to be, but they don't want to be. They want me drinking, but I don't want to drink. So it was really kind of getting to know each other's stuff. And I remember later on, while my mom and my sister still wanted me to drink with them, later on when I said, you know what, I'll just go drink with you, they're like, no, we don't want you to drink. We want you to stay recovered, because it took me a long time for them to see the difference in me, because I had a bad reputation. I had to build a new reputation, right? So I couldn't expect them to already trust me with 30 days of sobriety. I couldn't expect them to believe me when I said, I'll be home later. With 30 days of sobriety, even though I was feeling the difference, they weren't yet ready to believe that I was actually in recovery, because I had how many false promises had I already told them? How many apologies had I already made, only to make the mistake again, right? So through the steps of this program, that's how I was able. So we're talking a lot about step 6, and this is perfect because it's talking about apologies, right? Am I just mumbled sorry? Talks about a mumbled sorry, like they're tired of that. They're tired of me saying I'm sorry, right? So in step 6, it's asking me, step 6 is where it says we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. So it's still asking me all these questions. Do I preach to them or to reform or fix them? Have I ever really cleaned house with them? They asked me a lot of questions to build up to this one question. Have I ever really cleaned house with them? And the truth was like, no, right? So it's getting me ready for step 7. It's telling me, are you done, Chris? Are you done being that liar? Are you done being that cheater? Are you done being, unreliable? Are you done being that person that his word means nothing? And yes, I was done. But I wasn't done until I was done. I talk about step 6 a lot, like, oh, I got it the first time. No, I didn't. I didn't get it the first time. It took some work. I had to get really honest about my life. And I had to ask myself, Chris, do you really want to stay sober or not? Right? Because if I don't want to stay sober, I ain't got to do nothing. I could just go to meetings all day and then do none of the work, right? But if I really want to stay sober and live a life that's worth living, then I had to take heart to these steps. And so step 6 gets you ready for 7, which gets you ready for 8, which gets you ready for 9. And in 9, it says, make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so will injure them or other, right? There's a second part to step 9. So we're going from our mumbling our sorries and saying sorry and doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? To, now I want to make amends. Well, I can't make amends if I'm the same, if I'm still the same, right? Because making amends says, you know what? Yes, I used to be that person. I'm different today. I'm not that person. And to me, that's not what my amends was to them, right? But to me, it's like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to be different. I can tell you right now that what I used to do, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna try my best to never ever do it, because I want to be different. I'm not gonna do it, right? Because I've changed. Well, I can't change if I don't admit that I have a problem and ask for help, which is 6 and 7. It's like, yes, I'm ready to have these defects removed. 7, ask for help. 8, make the list. 9, make amends. And some of y'all have heard me just say, man, I'm eager to talk about 9 because of the healing that came through it. But one of the questions that I asked my sponsor when I was on step 9, I said, so, I mean, like, how does this work? Do I have to call you before I make an amends? Do we got to talk about it? I mean, I've heard it done a million times. How are we going to do it? And he says, well, before you make an amends, ask yourself one question. I said, okay, what is it? He said, ask yourself, are you willing to do whatever it takes to make it right? He said, and if your answer is no, then don't make the amends. And I will tell you that making amends to my mom was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. For me to admit that I wasn't yet quite ready to do whatever it took to make it right was painful for me to admit. But I remember just thinking that I want to make amends to my mom, but I'm not ready to do whatever it takes. So I had to pray about it. I said, God, change me. Help me deal with whatever it is that's keeping me from making amends to my mom. She's my best friend. And I just kept praying about it. And folks, it worked. One day I woke up, I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to make amends to my mom. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make it right. Whatever she tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do it. So I got up, I got dressed, I drove to San Antonio, and I went to my mom's house, and there was a lot of people there, and I was like, I was on a mission. I just went to make amends to her. And, I remember hanging out with her and just being there and just praying about it. I was like, God, there's a lot of people here. I'm ready. And I want to make it right. So you make the time, you make the space, and God, please give me the words. And I don't know what she was doing. I think she was making tortillas, and she was shorter than me, so I stood behind her. And in that moment, it was just me and her. I don't know where everybody else was, but all of a sudden, nobody was there except me and her. And I said, Mom, I've been a bad son. I've been a bad person to you. I did a lot of things as a kid that I should never have done to you. You didn't deserve anything I did, and I'm sorry. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it right. And she turned around and she said, that's all that I wanted. I wanted my son back. I wanted my daughter back. I wanted my person back. See, my mom was very old school, but she knew what I was going through. And she knew what I'd been going through my whole life. And for me to make amends, man, she was like, it's like she was always waiting for it, but just kind of was not expecting it. So, man, I remember that. It's like changed the total trajectory of our relationship. Like, it went from being really good to being like excuse me. It went from being really good to being freaking amazing. Like, this was the most... Man, I mean, it's just like, whew, it was out of this world relationship. We got to laugh again. We got to talk again. We got to pray together again. We got to spend time again. We got to drink coffee together again. And because our paths were so different, we hadn't been able to do that for a long time. But even when she was dying, I was like, I'll take care of you to the end, Mom. I'll let everything go. Because I was willing to do whatever it took to make it right. My God, it was such an amazing experience. After I made my amends to my mom, everybody else was like, piece of cake, man. Yeah, there was definitely something there. And I totally get why the promises come true in the 9th step now. Because after I did that, man, all the promises started to come true for me. I could walk anywhere a free man. anywhere. It didn't matter where it was. People would always tell me like, man, Chris, you look so confident in the way you walk. And I'm just thinking like, whoa, right? Because I didn't believe that about myself, but people would see that. And not to toot my own horn, I'm just just kind of sharing with you what was shared with me as a result of the 9 steps, of the 9th step, right? So in step 6, people brush over them because they brushed over them in the big book. It's like, now you're ready for step 6 and 7. They put them together, 2 sentences or 3 maybe, same. And you're doing step 6 and 7 together, right? Just like 8 and 9. But man, if you get deep into them, step 6 is huge, because the truth is, even for somebody like me who wants to be perfect in all areas of his life, he's not ready to let go of some of the stuff that's still holding him back, that's still killing his dreams, that's still in the way, that's still, I remember there was this lady that I work with, and she said, and I started a new job. I'm doing good. I'm showing up on time. My performance is awesome. The honeymoon period, it was cool. And then when it was over, and I started to get irritable, restless, and discontent, right? Because I used to drink a lot. And what talks about in the reading too. And I remember this lady told me, she goes, man, she said it in Spanish, but I'm gonna say it in English, right? It sounds more hardcore in English in Spanish. But in English, she said, how beautiful you were and how ugly you've become. And man, that hurt. That stung. Because while I was in the honeymoon period, I was great. But man, once that was over, I was a horrible person. But today, I can be a good person, a kind person, an honest person. All day, all night, months in a row if I want, because I have that choice today, and I have these tools, and I have that 6th step that tells me, Chris, honey, this honeymoon never needs to be over. The honeymoon never needs to be over. You can be nice to this person forever. This person, there's a chance that this person will never see that side of Chris that used to be out there drinking and drugging and causing trouble and ending up in jail and fighting with everybody. And I'm so grateful for that. Because there's people in my life that it's not that I'll share with them anything about me. Whatever questions they want to ask me, I'll answer everything, honestly. But to treat them the way I used to treat people, that I don't want to do. And that's why I'm grateful for these steps. Because I get to be different today. I get to be honest. I get to be tolerant. I get to be kind. I get to be fun. I get to be successful. I get to stay up late or go to sleep early. I mean, like, what freedom I've been given as a result of these steps. So friends, I hope that I might have said something that could be useful to you tonight. If you want to leave some comments, please do so. I read them every day and I reply to them. Thank you for all the love that I get, because I do get a lot of love. I share some of these on Facebook, and I get likes and hearts and comments and stuff. So I like to reply to that. And I'm not doing it for the likes. I'm doing it more out of just that seed that was planted, and just out of obedience to my higher power, who I choose to call God. I feel like He's, put me in this position where I have recovery behind me, and that's big. And I get to share that with you. And to me, that's bigger. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you being here with me, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.